Can you just first tell us why are we here, kind of what happened this morning?
In the recent history, there's been some calls about firearms related violence in the area, specifically generated in and around the location behind it. And members of our gun unit worked to secure a search warrant for that location. And because of the threats presented, that being a firearms related search warrant, it was determined through a threat matrix that our SWAT unit was the best unit to execute the warrant this morning. Upon execution of that warrant this morning and making entry into the location, unfortunately, an individual presented a threat with a firearm to the SWAT officers that they made entry, and unfortunately, they had to engage the individual with deadly force. Thankfully, that individual was immediately treated by our SWAT medical personnel, transported by ambulance to a local hospital, and is being treated at this time.
What do you know their condition right now?
Do not have it completely, so we're still waiting to get updates on that.
When they entered the home, then can you take me through sort of those moments? Were they immediately holding a gun, firing? Like, did they fire at officers?
That's parts of exactly what occurred upon entry. That's what's being gathered through the interviews, through any other witnesses around the area, statements from the officers, the physical evidence inside the scene. But I can tell you that upon the initial secure of the scene inside of the home, a firearm that the individual had was located and has been secured by our crime scene investigators.
Okay. Do you know how many shots were fired?
Do not know that right off. Not at this moment.
Do we know how many times they were shot?
I still don't know that for sure.
Are any officers hurt?
No officers were injured this morning.
Do you know what the warrant was for specifically?
I believe it has a narcotics nexus to it, but we're still working through exactly how much of that also tied in with some of the firearms activity. So that's what we're still working through, that part of the investigation up to today, and then also whatever evidence that is found inside the location as well.
And the suspect's name?
We're not releasing any of the names right now as we still work through that, and also we need to get a status on the suspect at the hospital as well.
And who else has been arrested in connection to this?
I believe they've got a few other individuals detained. I do not know the complete number or who those individuals are, because as our regular protocol, with contact at the district attorney's office with General Pinkston, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office becomes the lead criminal investigation agency on the incident itself. They're supported by our crime scene unit, but they are the lead criminal, so they will be handling any of the detentions and interviews and interrogations that occur from this point forward.
Do you know how many people were inside the home when they entered?
I do not know that for sure.
Do you know how many firearms were found in the house?
I don't know that either. Once the scene is locked down, it's the entire process. Our community has seen it. You all have seen it. It is videoing the entire location. It's still photographs. It's 3D scanning. It's everything we can do to preserve the incident and all of the physical evidence at the very moment that it's occurring and when we secure it, so we maintain the integrity of that evidence so it can be presented for the investigation and then also presented at any subsequent trials.
So basically, why they were coming out here today was because the community was complaining about firearms being fired in this area?
It's that to a degree is my understanding, but also just some other criminal investigations as well, and that's a little more into the search warrant itself, which obviously is the nexus for the investigation today, so that's going to be part of what's being reviewed by ECSO.